Well, is it coming? Is it happening? There we go. Looks like it's happening. Looks like it's happening, fat cat. Looks like it's happening. Just like your little chompy chomps. Yep. Oh. Okay, there we are. Hi, everybody. Look at me. I'm a cowboy. On a steel horse I ride. I'm wanted. Wanted. Dead or alive. Okay. Sorry for... I took a couple days off last week. I didn't really mean to. This Wednesday was the anniversary of my fiance passing away, and I thought I was going to do a show, and then I just felt like not doing a show. And then I totally forgot that Thursday there was no trading, and then Friday just got away from me. So I ended up having a couple days off there, and I'm back. Here we are. We are now in a war with Iran for some reason. The war seems to be the stupidest war we pops ever have engaged in, where a commander-in-chief dithers for like weeks on end and says, I'm going to bomb you, but maybe I won't, maybe I will, maybe I won't, maybe I will, maybe I won't, maybe I will. And that dithering allows Iran to remove the nuclear material that we were apparently going to bomb. So then we send $6 billion in bunker-busting bombs, drop them, and then none of the material we were going to entomb inside the earth was able to be entombed because they got away with it. And then Iran goes, we're going to bomb you. We're going to bomb this exact spot. We're talking with the Qataris about bombing this exact spot. We're going to do it this moment, this time where it's happening, and allows us to like evacuate all our personnel. And then they launch their missiles, and we go pew, 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 and we shoot them out of the sky. And it's the dumbest tit-for-tat garbage ever. So here we are. You know, Straits of Hormuz is shut down. Tankers are visibly turning around and heading somewhere else, which means oil prices are going to go through the roof just in time for the tariffs to expire on the 9th, or to be reinstated on the 9th. We have 0 trade deals done. Yeah. Market went up today for some reason. Tesla rocketed, even though their head of robotics quit. And today at Texas said that your FSD, your full self-driving, is so garbage, you cannot test it driverless. So there has to be a dude sitting in the car driving you around like a normal taxi. It's just... future is stupid. That's where we are. We're in a dumb future. Anyway, got that stuff right off the bat. Hey, kitty cat, anything else you want to add there? Monkeyed on the floor or anything? No? All right. So let's click our clickety clack and boop boop. Okay, turn that intro off. Lone Wolf first, Lone Wolf second, Lone Wolf and third. Kelly Reed fourth, technically second. Copy, paste, best. Kelly Reed, happy birthday, HW. Globe and Mail says, can prepare for a decade of thrift and lower living, paying down household debt for the foreseeable future. Don't know if it can last with unemployment and defaults rising. Canadian unemployment is pretty high right now. It's at 7.9%, which is pretty high. The last time Canada went through a global financial crisis like this, a bunch of your minerals got sold off to Chinese people. So we'll see what happens with copper mines and nickel mines and zinc mines and everything else. Canada is extremely resource rich. So I guess we'll see where that goes. Canada did sign an agreement with the EU today. Basically, they're shunning the United States. Like, the United States is right there, but we're such miserable neighbors. They're like, we will go across the street to get our cups of sugar. So that seems to be what's happening, is that Canada is now getting closer to the EU, and the United States is getting further and further isolated, which is just way to go, Trump. Way to go. Just isolate us from all of our trading partners. You really want to have no trade deficit with anybody, but you're not going to have any trade. So our trade deficit is going to go through the roof because there's a bunch of stuff outside of this country that cannot be offered here and cannot be gotten from here. And we're going to have to buy it from elsewhere more expensively. So it's going to cost us even more money. In the meantime, people can find what we make elsewhere. They can get their soybeans elsewhere. They can get their wheat elsewhere. They can get their rice elsewhere. They get their beef elsewhere. And they're going to go elsewhere for it all. So trade from the U.S. is going to just wither on the vine. And but the market's like, cool, yay, woo, let's go up $10, yeah, woo, for some reason. The King Ding Dong, I got denied the operator job in GameStop. Oh man, crestfallen. If only someone would wake that bastard BBY. I'm sorry, man. Sacklers avoided paying out like asbestos, and thank goodness that might be coming back. Didn't have any luck finding a local group to talk about the grief of losing a parent. They're all gone. Oh man. Calls on oil. Yeah, oil's gonna be rocketing. Where are we at the moment? My big guy monitor. Want yourself here. Just a moment. It takes a while to spool up here. Okay. This one? Yeah, that's the one. All right. Oil prices. What we got? Oil's down. What the hell? Why on earth is oil down? Doesn't make any sense. It crashed hard today. Went from 74 all the way down to 65. Basically, oil was like, oh well, the Iranians attacked, but they didn't really do any damage. So like, whoop, here it comes down. And Trump was like, you better not raise any oil prices, buddy. Like as if you have any say in the matter, man. But the problem is that lowering oil prices means less jobs in the U.S. because when oil drops below like $70 a barrel, they fire tens of thousands of oil rig operators and start capping wells, and that's where we are. So weird. The future makes no sense. It's just one like non sequitur after implausible reality after another, and it's just it makes no sense whatsoever. We're in just the weirdest place. Oh, I forgot to put in a multi-stream again. Dang it. Okay, multi-stream. Oh no, I have to go back to YouTube. I have to make sure that's on live chat and then go to multi-stream. There we are. Okay. All right. Okay, where am I? King Ding Dong and 9. Ugh, so much garbage going on. Thank you for your attention in this matter. Yes, MacroTurf. With everything that has changed in the past couple of years, it doesn't seem like much has changed. Granted, I live in a bubble, but you think all of this would have amounted to something bigger. It blows my mind that just 10 years ago, right? 10 years ago, if a man who was president wore a tan suit, right? He wore a tan suit. It was headline news about what an affront to America that is, and God damn it, we won't stand for it. He ordered Dijon mustard. Oh, what a traitor, right? And here we are, unilaterally joining a war we've nothing to do with that was caused because the man in office tore up a nuclear treaty because he didn't like the fact a black guy had signed it. And now we're dropping billions of dollars in bombs for what? Like what are we doing, man? Like what? I don't understand. Do you get it? I don't get it. Everything's so stupid. Everything's so dumb. Can you imagine if Obama or Biden had been like, don't you dare raise oil prices? Like, what? Everything's so silly. King Ding Dong. Best news I've seen is we got native port of Mario Kart 64 on PC. Also, Pottery Barn released Pokemon collab I can't afford at this time. Cool. I mean, I got Mario Kart 64 on my Nintendo 64, so I don't need to port to PC for that one. Although it is the best Mario Kart. Mupulin. Oh, sorry. Snert Alert first says yawn. Mupulin. GME price prediction next 2 weeks. It's official that leaps are worthless hype at this point. They are worthless hype at this point if your company keeps diluting right before they would trigger, right? So that's what it comes down to. I mean, GameStop will go up, and then they'll dilute again, and it'll go down. And then it'll go up, and they'll dilute again, and it'll go down. We're going to be stuck in this cycle forever and ever and ever and ever and you just gotta calibrate, expecting them to dilute whenever things start to get good. And I guess that's how you win. Brandon Wells, WBY, do you think No Labs is still on the way to 14? Well, cash wise, they should be 14, just based upon how much money in Bitcoin they have in their reserves and how many shares are out there. No Labs got hit today, hit pretty hard today. They dropped it below $3 today, so it seems to be like turning into a screaming deal. Yeah. But like we popped above $5 intraday just as recently as last Wednesday, and then they push it right back down again. It should be $14. No Lab should threaten to give out like a cash dividend or something. Like they just be like, look, we're if our stock price falls below this price, we're going to send out a dividend of $10 a share or something, and really just mess with them. I don't know. Normally the DTCC seems to be on top of like how much this should probably trade versus like how much cash they have on hand. But I think what we need on No Labs now is like set dates for when they're going to apply to the FDA. We're going to do it this time. We're going to be ready at this time. We need something like that coming out of them. ECB. Looks like Cohen is suing himself, thereby denying our settlement for possibly a year. Cohen is scum. Happy entertain a misdirection scheme theory to force settlement. Institution no rat, no pedigree. I mean, the estate is suing Cohen for the 16B. I think the estate should probably drop it since there's not really going to be any money to come out of this lawsuit. He's not necessarily suing himself because it seems Goldberg has only the estate to take care of and he has no boss. His job is basically to claw back as much money from anyone he can, and that's his directive. And he's being kept in the dark about anything of the reorganized estate, anything about eventually coming out with shares and blah blah blah. That is not his focus. His focus is claw back, and so he's going to be like a pit bull in that respect. It would be nice if Cohen was like, look, buddy, you're going to make me give you $40 million, and I'm just going to take that $40 million back because it's mine. But I guess he can't say that because that lets the cat out of the bag. I don't know. Like I said, the future's stupid. Here we are deep in it. So I don't know if this will ever get to trial. The trial's going to be in January of next year. I hope that it's not. We don't actually go to trial on this one. That just everything's finished long before then. That Class 6 gets their payouts and we're left with getting cash and possible equity back before then. Emtra, happy birthday, Houston. Can you read The Woods at Benedict's Woods Park from the sky? The Woods at Benedict's Woods Park? I don't even know what that means. Benedict's Woods Park. St. Joseph County, Indiana? Oh, it looks like they spelled something in the woods on the map. Okay, let's... One sec. Let me just load up Google Earth here. And scene and Google Earth. Boom. Benedict's Woods Park. Here we go. We're going to Indiana. We're going to some woods. We're going to a park. We're Benedicting it. And schlap. Oh, it says Studebaker. There you go. So if we turn this guy. Whoops, wrong way. There we go. Studebaker. All right. Right at the International Proving Ground. So it looks like we got a racetrack, right? Of some kind here. And then trails or these roads that go off the racetrack. So this must have been Studebaker's back in the day. Before, Studebaker ceased to exist. How high up? Okay, I can read it at about... Read it pretty much there. And this is at elevation or height of 10.8 miles. So 10.8 miles above Studebaker, Benedict Woods Park, you can still kind of read the Studebaker. Not quite low Earth orbit, but if I get to low Earth orbit, I can't read it anymore. So here I'm at 36 miles. Well, low Earth orbit's more about 100. So yeah, it's unreadable at that point. But cool. There we go. I did not know that existed, but now I do. Fantastic. All right. Kelly Reed, GME was just upgraded from an overall D to C rating by Charles Schwab in a released equity report. GME rated A for growth and B for quality. It's amazing to me that a company that is basically guaranteed to make a profit from this point forward, regardless of sales of their products or not, based upon just the cash that they have on hand, is still from a D to a C. Like, they have more cash on hand than most companies on Earth, but they're still a D or a C or whatever. Weird. Kelly Reed, JD Vance says bombing Iran doesn't mean we're at war with Iran, but a war with Iran nuclear weapons. Mr. saying, oh, I didn't punch him. He ran his face into my face. It's fist in my face. Math ain't mathin'. Yeah. We're not at war with Iran. We're just blowing their most valuable shit up, right? Like, look, it doesn't have to be a full-scale war. You just lay there and take it, and we're done. The Iranians said that now all Americans are targets, that they're going to awaken sleeper cells from within inside the United States to do attacks. It seems like the Iranians believe we're at war, doesn't it? Anyway, that's what it feels like. Anywho, cool. Super chat coming in from Ting Oneness. In brighter news, it looks like Zoran is favored to win Dem primary. I think he is. I think he's going to win. I think Cuomo is leaves such a bad taste in everyone's mouth that they don't want anything to do with him. And it goes to show that if you campaign in such a way that you appeal to the voters, you can win. So take note, Democrats. If you appeal to the voters, they're going to vote for you. If you campaign on things that they like, they're going to vote for you. So it's going to come down to if Zoran can win the mayorship. All he has to do is like enact the things he wants to do, or at least attempt to do it, right? So that will be the measure. So New York may actually have a mayor that doesn't suck. It'd be amazing. I didn't know it was possible in this day and age to elect not the worst person on the list. But might as well see where it goes, right? Primaries, is it tomorrow? The primary for mayor? Anywho, Bill Clinton showed his colors by endorsing Cuomo, and we're pulling. Now that stores are closed as of GME's earnings drop, are we almost guaranteed to run up next earnings report? Now that GME won't report any more store losses. But like the Canadian stores are closed that you're talking about, because we don't have those Canadian stores anymore. We've been so lean that we're going to have nothing but profitable stores from this point forward. Yeah, I expect there to be a run up. There's always a run up into earnings. It'll just depend. If the earnings are good news again, expect them to launch another dilution either via selling shares or these bonds, these zero interest bonds they're doing. So I'm going to play according to that. Ding Ding Dong. I think Robinhood's going to announce a Hood stablecoin. They're offering weird crypto bonuses, and it is the art of the steal. Everyone's going to have their own stablecoins at some point. Banks will have it. Amazon will have it. Apple will have it. Microsoft. Everyone's going to have their own stablecoins, and it's just going to be like stablecoin battles going on, and so much cash is going to get tied up in stablecoins, and then it's all just going to probably vanish one day when a nefarious actor has their hands on a quantum computer. And there we go. ECB says anything BlackRock touches is evil. Uneducated Canadian jewelry, a reseller on Amazon, writes handwritten notes and suddenly scales pet food. 2016 BlackRock investment starving retail. I have no idea what any of that means. BlackRock is not the only index fund out there. There's Vanguard and there's State Street. Those are the big three. They all have between 7 and 9% of pretty much every company that trades. And I understand the investment formula, which is if you own everything and everything goes up over time, you make more money, right? But I do think that the index invest in everything strategy should be made illegal. That there should be laws limiting what they can invest in. Like they have to pick one car company. They can't invest in all of them. Pick one. That's it. Pick one bank. You can't invest in all of them. Pick one brokerage. You can't invest in all of them. There needs to be something like that to ensure competition, because then we get collusion between BlackRock, which, if they want, can hold board positions at all of these companies, every company in existence, based upon the fact that they own that many shares. Yeah. ECB says DK Butterfly versus Ryan Cohen and Nurse Ventures case number. Oh, talking about because you're asked for receipts. Dead Bass. 30 years from now, do you see a gap in the classic car world? I'm wondering if the 80s cars you talk about and more modern won't be around in good shape as much as the 30s, 50s due to more plastic parts. It's a good question. I think 70s and 80s cars, the plastics especially, are garbage. I think the more modern vehicles, they are in better shape. They're a little more give. They're more UV resistant, so less likely to like turn brittle and crack. Even that being said, there will probably be a market for folks who can 3D print on demand these parts. So they're like, hey, I need a new dash bezel, and they just go, what model, what year, click, 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 and they just print one out and ship it to you, and you've got a brand new plastic part you can put in. And you can even upgrade to like, I want it to be brushed stainless or something, and they can do that for you. Yeah, I do think that, real classic cars, stuff that's 60s, 50s, 40s, 30s on below, they will always be neat and cool. There may not be as much of a market for the nostalgia of them going forward, simply because the people buying them wouldn't have been alive when those were like new and cool. But there will be sort of a boomer-esque nostalgia for folks who grew up in the 80s. As they're retiring, they're like, I want that car from the 80s. I always wanted, that GNX or Pontiac Firebird or whatever. So there may be a growth scene in those. Because remember, like 25 years ago, 30 years ago, like when I was a teenager, you could go out and you could get a Plymouth Barracuda for like 20 grand. You can go get the Tommaso Pantera for like $15,000, and now it's going to cost you $150,000 for either one of those, right? So there's probably cars at this point that are super cheap and won't be 30 years from now. There might be a weird market for an Isuzu Impulse or Ford Taurus SHO or something that all of a sudden 30 years from now, they're like, that's different, and the car isn't tracking my every movement. I like that. So you may see some sort of resurgence there. Murph Studios, thoughts on Prometheus and Alien Covenant? I haven't seen either one, so no thoughts. So I apologize. I've seen Aliens, Alien 3, Alien Resurrection, Alien vs. Predator. I think it's the only ones I've seen. I don't think I've seen any of the new ones that came out recently. So I'm useless in that respect. MS Houston, thanks for the community. Well, you're welcome. Fred Jones, it is the weirdest thing, Houston. I had one put for the SPY today, and all it did was go up. It makes no sense. I mean, SPY was down to like 591 last night, and at close was over 600 today. Because of military incompetence? Is that why the SPY was like, well, everybody involved is terrible at doing their job. Let's go up. I cannot figure out for the life of me why. Um, I dare some badass trader in Wall Street to name for me one indicator that the economy is going to be fine. Just one. Just one indicator, because I can't find any. Housing dropping hard. Interest rates still sky high. Even if we do cut them, they're going to be sky high because no one wants our debt. Real estate, commercial real estate, worthless. Employment dropping. Trade going out the window. We're vaporizing our workforce. We can't build anything, grow anything, fix anything. All those folks are getting deported. Education's terrible. Reinvestment into science, non-existent anymore. Rural hospitals closing like crazy. Lifespans dropping. Health decreasing. I don't understand where the optimism's coming from. It makes no sense to me. I do not see anything optimistic in the near future at all. I guess we're just got to build up. And then when July 9th hits and there's no trade deals with anybody and all those tariffs get slapped back on, buy a shitload of puts for then. Maybe they're just trying to sell off everything to all of you miserable retail investors until the 9th of July. When is the 9th of July? Come here, calendar. 9th of July is a Wednesday. So we got, what, 3 weeks? One. So 1, 2, oh, two, less than 3 weeks, 2.5 weeks ish until July 9th. Well, what do you got, Tinny Oneness? Not sure. Super chat. Not sure, but Semper in Memoria Mia Vives is in memory of your fiance, Rock God. I'm so sorry. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I don't necessarily talk about her much. Usually around the anniversary of her death is that's the date that gets you, right? But I just every year I post to Facebook, and this year I posted it to Reddit, just sort of a plea to don't drive drunk. Just don't do it. Just if you don't know, she was a grad student at Florida International, and she was returning from her friends one night, driving down I-95 in near Miami, near Coral Gables, and a drunk driver, it was the third time he had done this we know of, got onto the off ramp to go onto the highway and was going the wrong direction at over 100 miles an hour and just hit her head on and just obliterated both of them. He had every choice in the world not to do that. Even if you're drunk, you still should have something in your brain that says, hey, I'm too drunk to do this. So I just ask people to, stay where you are, sleep in your car, get a ride from someone, get an Uber, walk. If you live near me, give me a call, I'll pick you up. I don't care. I'd rather you get home safe as a drunken fool than lose your life or take somebody else's. There's like someone gets old, they die. Oh man, that you can see that coming. Someone gets sick, and you're like, oh wow, and you might have time to prepare yourself for it. But there's a shock from the unexpected instant loss that you had plans and you had ideas and things you were going to do in your future that all rested upon this person existing, and all of a sudden they're just not there anymore. And it's very hard to accept, to reconcile with, to deal with, and it's so just unnecessarily stupid. Like, I don't know, they were ski jumping off of cliffs into a skydiving thing, then you're like, okay, there's some risk involved. But just coming home from a friend's house one night, getting smoked by a drunk guy going 100 miles an hour the wrong direction, is so unnecessarily dumb. And just don't be that person. Just don't do that to somebody. So that's basically my plea every year. And I talk about sort of dealing with loss in that respect, and I don't have magic answers for it. So if you've lost somebody that way, it's like a fingerprint. Like it's for everyone, it's different how you navigate, how your brain deals with the trauma and the shock and the loss and the denial and everything else. Like everyone has their own little unique journey through it, and I don't know the answer. Like time sort of gets you to the point where you are used to the idea, I guess. But there's still anger, there's still sadness, there's still mourning at all times. I mean, it's been 15 years and it still pisses me off. Uh, so my resolution basically was be the person that she loved. Do the things you did while she was still alive that she was like, hell yeah, right? So that's the best way. That's the best way I can navigate through it. Is to live in honor of her and do my best to be the person that she loved. And I guess that's my piece of advice. Is if you experience loss like that, whether it's a family member, a loved one, a friend, uh, when you get through your mourning, because you're gonna go through a mourning phase, you're gonna go through denial, you're gonna go through ignoring the reality of it and keeping yourself with busy work, and you're going to make stupid decisions and impulsive decisions and reckless ones, because that's just what happens. The human brain just trying to reconcile this new reality. And when you finally like peter out from those reckless decisions and awful impulsive moments and the bargaining and the denial and the anger and the sadness and everything else, just realize that you loved them, they loved you, and they loved you for a reason. So keep being that reason. That's my advice. So by all means, take that. Because the longer you live, the more loss you're going to have like this. It's inevitable. And someday, if you live your life the way that those folks loved, you're, I hate to say it, but you're going to be fortunate enough to be missed like that. So you're going to be that loss for someone someday if you live your life right. So live your life right. Yeah. So there. Take a sip of water before I tear up. Okay. Oh shoot. Reset the chat. Come on, man. I hate it when you do that. I gotta scroll back up and figure out where we were. All right. King Ding Dong. Wait until Paul Pelosi buys some GME. We ain't getting shit until then. Okay. MS Houston, based on history, how does stock market rocket if we make war? There usually is some sort of like, oh boy, defense contractors, woo, and the market goes up. At this point, I do not think the defense industry is spread out enough to counter all the other things. Like World War II was a different animal. World War II, 16 million Americans were mobilized. That's like 10%, more than 10% of the entire population were mobilized. All companies in the U.S. went to the war effort, meaning you didn't get new models of Chevy coupes because Chevrolet was making B-25 bombers, right? You didn't get new models of Ford, sedans because they were making a whole bunch of Sherman tanks. Dodge wasn't making cars, they're making airplane wheels. Like the entirety of the United States was mobilized for the war effort, and everyone was employed for the war effort. Today, war isn't mobilizing 16 million people. War is, I push this button and a $1 million thing flies out of a hole, goes 600 miles, and blows something up. That's war in the U.S. It is basically, if you make cruise missiles at Lockheed Martin, woo, got some new contracts, right? If we do boots on the ground, which I would think would be the dumbest thing we could possibly do in Iran, then all of a sudden we're going to have to be dealing with drones and anti-drones. So we'll have a huge drone industry build up in the United States all of a sudden, all what Ukraine is having. But that, again, is not something that can employ 30 million people. So I'm not really sure how going to war these days boosts the entire market versus just some defense contractors. We were at war for 20 years in Iraq and Afghanistan, and we had two major financial recessions in that time. Three, actually, because we had one under Trump as well. So we had three recessions in that time. The boom bust cycle still continued as if the war wasn't going on at all. So my guess is if the war comes to home, which is people are fearing in terrorist attacks, that may be a different animal, and that may result in, I don't know, people rallying around Trump finally. But Trump's approval ratings dropped to 38%. It's the lowest approval ratings for a president since the last time Trump was president. So he has the number one, number two spots for the least liked president of all time. And that's saying a lot considering George W. Bush, when he left office, he was the least liked president since Nixon. Yeah. I think the old idea of we split up the entire country for war effort is a long lost era, because we have so much mechanization and technology now that we can just monitor things from a strip mall in Nevada and blow stuff up halfway around the world and not really care. The investment, 20 years of war in Iraq and Afghanistan, and we lost 5,000 soldiers, 6,000 soldiers, versus previous wars where, 4 or 5 years in Korea, we lost 50,000. 4 years in World War II, we lost over 400,000. That type of investment in humanity doesn't exist anymore. So it's all tech stuff. Sorry, one sec. I have to take a call here. It's coming in. How do I have to mute this? I forgot how to mute that. Shit. Mute. I forgot to mute. There we go. Okay, sorry. I've been. What was I going to do a show on Friday because I've been trying to refinance these student loans, and of course, lady's calling right now. So in 19 minutes, I will go deal with that. Okay, let's see here. Where am I? Where was I? I was King Ding Dong. Dead Bass. I got 1997 Mazda Miata, kept out of the sun. I still got a little tear in the dash. It's coming up 30 years. I think it's how much time things spend in the sun. The sun, UV light eats up the plastic like nobody's business. But there's a whole bunch of UV protective, sunscreen basically, that plastics are getting now. It's a lot better than what you had in the 80s. I had this really cool 1988 Subaru XT6. Fucking rad car. People were like, oh, it's good. I thought it was a cool space machine. I loved it. It was really fun to drive. It had this pistol grip shifter. It was a blast. It's asymmetric steering wheel. It was very 80s, digital dashboard. It was cool. But the plastic was, you touch it, just shot to powder. So I would take all the plastic parts. This is what I teach with artists too. I'd take all the plastic parts, glue it together, sand it down, get to the point where it's pretty perfect. And then I'd make the industrial design students scan it into their computer and 3D print me new pieces. And with the PLA plastics they got, they could get, you know, sun resistant, UV resistant PLAs and print that stuff out. And so I rebuilt that car using those parts, and it worked remarkably well. So if you have access to a really cool 3D scanner and a big 3D printer, like there's a bezel, I don't want to say it, part for the dashboard. It was like that big. And normal home 3D printer couldn't do it, but their big industrial one could. That's, I think, good chunk of the future. King Ding Dong. The Sacklers withdrew over $10 billion from Purdue before it filed for bankruptcy in 2019. That money was moved into trusts, offshore accounts, or distributed among family members. It's true. That's exactly what they did. And then they wanted like no responsibility for paying out for all that stuff. They basically took that blood money and kept it offshore. That's how you do it. I mean, you take your money and you stick it in Belize or British Virgin Islands or the Caymans, and we don't have judicial oversight in those places, so there's no way to get that money back. Fred Jones says Paul Pulitzer never buy GME, told me yesterday. Robert Manson. Well, we are 5 weeks into bonds being paid out. What's up? I've not seen the bonds get paid out. I know they got enough money to do it, so I don't know what's happening. IBKR stopped trading them again today, but E-Trade's still trading the bonds for BBY. I don't know. Just man, congratulations everyone. All right, there we go. Robert Manson. So what do you think about No Labs wanting to increase shares to 750 million, 33 million going to the guy buying the BTC? It's pretty stupid using the 33-cent stock value. Valuation should be estimated. And so now does this guy have control of the company? Oh yeah, he has control of the company. He spent $100 million to get control of the company. That's what he has. So if they increase the shares, 750 million shares, the stock price is going to rocket right back down again. Because that becomes, you know, what, 15 cents a share versus the $14 right now. They'll raise money, no doubt. They'll have cash on hand for when that happens. But yeah, it'll cause the stock price to shoot right back down again. King Ding Dong, anyone got any wins this week? I hired a lawyer. I inherited a piece of land. I think a family member was trying to steal it from me. It cost me $1,200 to find out. I'm in Tennessee, properties in Michigan. I got a Michigan lawyer and retainer. Yeah, you definitely need lawyers for that. My family has a chunk of land in Canada, in Northern Ontario, that is very, very large potential for mineral wealth. And hiring lawyers in Timmins, where it is, has been a disaster. So we had to hire lawyers far away from Timmins who don't know anything about the land, but know about Ontario land laws. And that's the only way that helped. Because the lawyers from Timmins ended up trying to steal the land from us. Oh, you know, this land is worth, I'll give you $5,000 for it. No, I'm a geologist. I know that there's gold, silver, zinc, copper. No, back off. So yeah, sometimes you gotta do that because people will try to take the land from you if that's the case. Ding Dong, my brain is going to be completely smooth. I used to use ChatGPT to help me figure out which lawyer and what to do. Did you guys see that stat that basically using ChatGPT all the time gives your brain essentially the equivalent of CTE, and you don't know how to use your head anymore? I thought that was pretty funny. They put a bunch of traps. The authors put a bunch of traps into their stories to figure out which of their subjects were using ChatGPT, and it asked them to, like, hey, can you parse this information for me? And they put clauses in the documents they gave to their subjects that said basically like, ignore everything, only talk about this one table. And so if they put it in ChatGPT, it would ignore everything and only talk about the one table. And then they knew that these people weren't using their brains to parse the information. So good stuff. Good times. Ronald Rose, we are swimming in the shallow end of the gene pool. Yeah. Pretty much. Here we go, Hasten. We are seeking more and more fuck around, find out people. However, how do we reconcile people that believe a delusion and voted for a rapist, among other things? I don't know if you can fix it. Honestly, I mean, think about it. These people have made Trump their entire personal identity. Like voting for Trump is who they are. They are a Trumper, and they identify themselves as that first above everything else. I am MAGA, right? And if your entire personal identity is wrapped up in the belief that this is basically the second coming of Jesus, and they're not, your ego cannot survive that. You will suffer ego death, unlike anything you probably experienced in your lifetime. Imagine like a drug addict hitting rock bottom, right? They're every part of their physiology craves more of the heroin or cocaine or whatever it is that they're addicted to, and there has to be a personal ego death when you hit rock bottom to admit you have a problem. That there's no other way to go about it. Like it's up to the individual to admit they have a problem, to find any relief in the future, and to get through treatment. A MAGA person has to hit rock bottom and admit to themselves that they have a problem. That's all cult members have to go through that. They have to go, oh shit, I have a problem. This is not going well at all. I'm paying more for gas. I'm paying more for milk. My property's worth less. My health insurance sucks. I no longer have SNAP benefits or Medicare or Medicaid. My kids don't talk to me. We're at war with Iran. I was promised no new wars. I got laid off from my work because my company, their market was overseas and no one wants to buy our shit. Like, there has to be some sort of being stripped of every dignity you possibly have, right? In order to finally lay bare your soul and admit that you got duped, that you were dumb enough to get duped. And that, I don't know how to help people get through that other than let them experience the consequences of their own actions. And to some people, those consequences are probably going to be deadly. That they may die before they ever admit to themselves they fucked up. I think about anti-vaxxers, like last words before being intubated and dying from COVID, being like, I wish I got the vaccine. And then they never were conscious again. They learned their lesson a little too late. And it's a silly quote, but it always rings in my head. A smart man learns from his mistakes. A wise man learns from the mistakes of others. It's a pretty simple concept. It's why we learn history. Like, people say history doesn't repeat. It sure does rhyme. You can look at parallels throughout history, and you can always see these things coming, as long as you bother to learn. And a lot of folks, they don't care about learning. They never learned how to learn. They don't know how to do research. They don't know how to parse information. They don't know how to go out and find legit sources. They see a YouTube video, and I say this ironically as I'm on YouTube, and they go, well, it's on YouTube, therefore it must be true. And John Oliver did his show last night all about AI slop. And then there was he showed examples of these really terrible AI videos of fake situations that never happened. They'd be like, Pam Bondi wore a cross in court and the judge said, take that cross off. And then Pam Bondi won in the end, right? That never happened. But the video gets posted and then someone says, this is not true, this is AI slop. Someone's like, no, I saw another YouTube video about it. And no, people are lying to you, man. They're lying to you. And you need to have at least enough self-respect to sort of, I don't want to say be cynical about everything, but verify. Please verify information. It's, correct me when I'm wrong. I will correct you. That will be our social contract. So I don't know. I don't know how to get over those delusions. My oldest sibling went through a period when he got divorced where he became the quintessential angry white male who wanted every hardship in his life is the fault of someone else, right? And he's going to vote for Trump because he's going to stick it to you. And it was this like lashing out pain response. And, you know, you sit down with him and you reflect and you realize, you make him realize that every bad thing that happened to him was because he made a dumbass decision, right? So, like, he was a well-to-do airline pilot and he quit being an airline pilot and all of a sudden was poor. Damn it, look what they did to me. Like, you didn't have to quit your job, man. Like, you could still be a wealthy airline pilot if you wanted to. I don't know why you quit. You didn't have to live in Podunk Town where there's no jobs. You could live somewhere where there is a job. You could go back to school. There's things you can do. So there's a personal responsibility thing in there, and a lot of people just their egos can't take that personal responsibility. So here we are. Video brand, what the fuck? Oil was $70 last night. I thought, yeah, it makes no sense. Will IEP benefit from high oil prices? They're invested in an oil company, right? So probably. Cheers, Miami. Oil traders smelled this scam war, Houston. It seems like they did. Peachy Sunday, breaking news. The United States drops a nuclear missile on Iran. Spy and Dow Jones reaches all-time highs. Yeah, that's probably how it's going to happen. Brand says, don't tease us like that. Mike Martin, oil market calling BS on Trump's Mideast reality TV show. Yeah, it seems like a taco situation. Tan suit, let's riot. Kid Katie, happy birthday, HW. I don't know why you're surprised. Orange Man said he was going to kill the economy for his Yarvin goons. The stock market is really only going up because our dollar is losing value from spending. Yeah, I mean, that might be it, is that it's purely just inflation making, like, the dollar's worth less, so it takes more of them to buy a spy. And that is purely where it's coming from. It's basically what's happening to, like, gold, is that as the dollar's worth less, gold prices go through the roof. Yeah. Orange body paint, totally normal. Sometimes sommeliers have covered calls for foreseeable future on GME. I bet you can sell them probably $4 or $5, probably a couple of dollars out of the money each week on that until we get close to earnings again. And then it will build back up and we'll get some good earnings and they'll do something to just smush it. So, yeah. Just Mammy says Iran officially rejects Trump's ceasefire proposal. I thought, like, Iran said that we're never going to bother negotiating. Like, screw you, we're out. So there's not even a possibility of negotiating at this point. Video brand probably written with a Sharpie, a string of 3 6-letter words demanding they give up. You give up now. Before Trump says Iran and Israel agreed to a ceasefire via Truth Social. So, another lie? Yeah, probably. Billy Mack adding more cash via dilution does not make a company worth more by ignoring the full balance sheet. Cash is cash at this point, and there's no dilution, I guess, unless the stock price goes up, so they will just make sure they never let the stock price go up. Is that where we are? King Ding Dong, it was the first combat use of mop bombs. I'm seeing they are $5 million each. Well, I read they were $500 million each for those bunker busters. So whatever, it's a lot of money. Pew Brand Timothy McVeigh made a bomb that was about $3,000. What could have been done with a $5 million in Beirut? Yeah. Peter Brand, he's maybe hitting on something good, printing out interior car panels for older cars. That's gonna be the key. Is like, can you get the specs from the manufacturers? Like, will they give you those plans, especially if their parts are no longer in production or even in warehouses, or do you go out and you just 3D map them yourself? I don't know, but I do think that is something that can go a long ways for classic car people, especially if you can do it as an on-demand thing. Different Lime says massive oil futures shorting, profits shifted over to pushing up the index. Eric says on July 9, Trump will extend the tariff deadline for 2 weeks. Oh yeah, it'll like hit hard, and then halfway through the trading day, he'll be like, "No, I'm taking it back," and then we'll go right back up again. So I will buy probably the night before, buy puts, or the right before close, the day before. Sell those suckers shortly after open, and then I'm going to buy some deep out of the money calls and see where it goes. See if Trump tacos again. And then Eric says, then 2 days after, on July 11th, he will get mad and impose a 50% tariff on all countries of the world. That's also true. D says, hi, Houston. Hope you're well. And everyone here, too. I hope everyone's well as well. Stefan says, great advice talking about loss. Yes, thank you. Ding Ding Dong, we in the Andor, we lose phase, I guess. Kikadian. Wow, I went to the same school as your girlfriend, Go Golden Panthers. Florida National, man. It seemed like a pretty good school. Robert Manson, if No Lab gives the BTC guy 350 million shares, a No Lab will be worth 33 cents because that is the valuation they're using. Yeah, pretty much. It'll probably go down from there. Rob Manson, what is the Laura and David Al-Alevi case for BBY that was Friday reset for 728? Will that hold things up? I think that's just some sort of liability case. Isn't that the one where like someone dropped something on their foot or something like that? That's not going to hold anything up. Adela Dearest coming in from Berlin, fantastic. And how's everyone doing? Crazy times. That's understate. How's Monkey Butt? Monkey Butt, how are you? How are you? Should we give you a little treat here before the end of the show? Oh. Oh, there they are. It's like they're in the spot and I'll reach for. Is this? Do you want one of these? Are you doing well? Here we go. There's a little monkey noodle. Yeah, get it? There you are. Okay, she's doing well. We got some good walks in this week. So pretty much, I think her limit is 3 miles. We do 3 miles. She's happy. Anything more than that, she's like, no. So no more big giant walks for us anymore. Just 3 miles a day, and she's happy as a clam. And it's a good time of year because it's almost exactly 3 miles to go from my house to the mini mart where I can get a Haagen-Dazs bar and back, which is perfect summer little walk. Who doesn't want to like take a nice walk in the sunshine, eat a Haagen-Dazs bar halfway through, and then come home? It seems like a pretty good loop. Jews Miami reports of possible assassination strike in Tehran. Things getting spicy. Black Udon Houston, look up Slate EV as electric vehicle. Slate EV. Well, this is the one that's backed by Bezos, the little trucks. Yeah. I think they'll do well. They got cheap market entry. They're great for commuting. You can customize them pretty easily. They're not going to be for folks who have long commutes or want to tow boats, but people who like little mini trucks, yeah, mini trucks are cool. Why not? Why not, Monkey, right? Seems pretty good. Oh, you're such a sweet little dude, aren't you? Yes, you are. You're like, oh, I got food, I'm loved. Okay. I can do one more, and then I gotta call this lone person back here and finish all the signing of documents. So, what we got? Yeah, Andy Doolittle says Iran called the ceasefire false. Yeah. Off the grid hero. Ever heard of domino theory? XRP. I mean, I've no domino theory in that. The idea was if one country becomes communist, their neighbors will become communist, and then everything will become communist. We have to go blow up Vietnam, but not in the respect of XRP. No, I've not heard of domino theory in that. But I got to get going, so I will see you guys later. I want you to have a great day. We'll be doing a show. Wait, is tomorrow Charity Tuesday? Oh shit. Calendar. Already? No, calendar, man. Give me the calendar. Give me. Where's my calendar? There it is. Oh no! Tomorrow's Charity Tuesday. I thought I had one more week, but it's the 1st is next week. So I will come up with a charity for Charity Tuesday tomorrow, and we will Charity Tuesday it. Yay! Okay. Until then, I will see you guys tomorrow for Charity Tuesday. I gotta figure that out tonight. Later, skaters. Have a good night, and be nice to each other, and hope the world doesn't blow up. I'll get back to it for this video. Okay. Horse.